What's up, we the bros, and welcome to the channel. Welcome to the Final Cut podcast, the podcast dedicated to all things Final Cut. Today, we're going to give the Badlands Bash and a unique story its final cut, at least on our side. Hopefully, Justin will continue to share it when we're done here. This actually is our second time trying to record this today. So I have none of the fancy stuff I was working with before, so we're just going to start this shindig, and we're going to hit the ground running. So, Justin, you are a lovely man. I got a chance to hear your story while at the Badlands, but I want you just to briefly introduce yourself. We'll talk about the Badlands, and we'll get into your story.
Sounds good. Briefly, I guess we'll just go into my channel, Justin Carl Films. I started a year ago with my 04 400EX. It's the first time I ever done a ground up build, bib bores, stage 2 hot cam, light and flywheel. I can't get enough breath to say everything I've done to it, and I'm still not done. Try to be like Dad speaks. But to the Badlands, that was my first time. Was that your first time as too, Will?
Yep, it was our first time at the Badlands. It was a lot of first times, actually. It was our first time going through the Knoxville area of Tennessee and then up through Kentucky, through Louisville. That was cool. Got a chance to see that, and then Indianapolis. I've always wanted to go out there and see the Indy 500, and we got about maybe like 300 miles from it, so close enough.
You can wave at it.
Just barely see the sign in the tree line, but apart from that, yeah, there's a lot of firsts for us for that trip. Honestly, it was a blast. I guess just to segue into that, what was your favorite part of the Badlands? Like, was there something that really stuck out to you?
It's so hard on that one because I had fun with a bunch of it.
So many
but
cool people.
I could break it into two parts.
Two parts, okay.
The Friday afternoon that when I first met you, Jackson Off-Road, and Andrew, and we rode out and we ended up running into Pete Hager, and we got to run the Serpentine all on our own. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun, and then riding out and stuff, and then like I said, I said I'd break it into two parts, and the other time is when after we went through the tunnel,
yeah,
which is where I think you figured out that's where we lost my flag, but we took off there, and I got so tied up getting the mud off of me and everything that I didn't change out my battery. But it's when we was riding through the creeks and going through up to there, I'm pretty sure you probably got all that on film, but
yeah, I enjoyed that part too. Just a little bit.
It was like if the temperature was cooler, it wasn't as dusty, and riding through the creeks and stuff. That was fun.
They're up underneath the canopy. Yeah, that's the best place to ride. We have the same thing down here at Carolina Adventure World. Normally, whenever it gets hot, we'll go down the riverbed, and even if we're just sitting there, it's like almost 2 or 3 degrees cooler. And it's just so good just to sit down there and ride back and forth. But yeah, I would say that that Serpentine that we did the day before, that was a lot of fun. I know that on your video, because you were the only person that got it, that I'm aware of. I haven't seen Jackson's POV of it yet. But you got that guy that's on that like 250R, or it's like a weird hybrid machine. He ended up crashing trying to go up the little steps.
Oh yeah, and it wasn't just he crashed and all that. He crashed well.
Yeah, it was very ginger.
You couldn't ask for an easier tip over. He just like, hey, I'm okay.
It's like the ballerina of Rex right there. You got a couple
it
spins,
really was.
And that was it.
And it was so far away that I zoomed in the best I could in editing. You could make it out, but yeah, that was pretty wild. And the other guy that was riding with him on that CR500, that thing was that Wayne Hunter Collect bike. That was a pretty cool bike.
Yeah. Well, just to see the hybrid was cool too. I know I got a couple of good shots of him on the Serpentine event. I remember checking that out. That was a lot of fun to see him because he just had that thing pinned and was slinging it.
He was slinging it. That was my first, and other than riding that day with P. Hager, but I don't know what it is when you got that many people watching you, and it's
it's kind of nerve wracking. Yeah. Yeah, I do the
And,
same thing. I do the same thing, especially when it comes to like competition in general. Like, I've noticed this more as like I get into certain like racing and stuff like that. As soon as you throw the word competition in it, my my confidence goes down immediately. I'm like,
you start doing this number.
yeah, freaking out the entire time. But yeah, well, first and foremost, if you guys do want to go check out that wreck, you have to go check his channel out because he's the only person from that weekend, as of right now, that has that video. So go check out Justin Carl Films. It'll be tagged in the description down below. Need to make sure I add that little self promo in there for you.
I appreciate it.
But the Serpentine event, how'd you end up doing? I know that you put your times in the video, but I can't recall them off the top of my head.
My first run was a 47.5. And I felt like, looking back at the footage and everything, I could see where I could, if I do it next time, I might do it totally differently. But and then for some reason, my second run, I guess when we rolled down, we was getting all lined up. I rolled down in second. And so when we got up to where it's my turn to go on my second go, I dropped the clutch with it in second gear.
He just dug it out of a hole with the power.
And I didn't notice it until I clicked into third. And since everybody done gone once, that sand was just deeper powder.
Washed out a little bit.
And I got up to the turn close to where y'all were standing, and I could just hear, you can hear the chatter and everything. I'm like,
yeah, I don't think anybody in our group said anything about it, but I know that the announcer was like, "Oh, downshift, here we go."
And when I came back down after y'all and hit that other hard turn, and it gets narrower and tighter, and you can feel the G-force. It's like, I was in third gear when I hit that turn, and I guess that sand was so deep and powdery from everybody going through it once over that I had to downshift again, and my second run was a 47.8, but it felt faster, but it wasn't. It was if I'd done the gear shifting right, I might have been able to beat my first time, but I didn't.
Yeah, it's just really hard, like, with all the stuff in there. Like, not only do you have to, like, stand up for the whoops and then sit down for the turn, you have to add in the shifting to it, too. There's so many mechanics that you have to, like, boom, boom, boom as you're going through, which, whenever you watch someone like Pete go through it, it's just like, what's the difference, bro? Just put it in fourth and just pinned it, and that was it.
Oh, with Pete's Raptor, it's think of a Chuck Norris joke when they talk about his Raptor. Instead of the Raptor moving, it's the Earth that's moving under the Raptor. You know what I'm saying?
The Raptor doesn't turn; it's just the G-forces of the Earth turning.
Yeah, it's just
just like the core. Oh, Pete's going. We have to move.
Yeah.
And for the rest of us, it's like, I'm gonna grab your tires. You can't go fast. No.
I did that to somebody up there when we was talking. He went to take off. I just walked up, grabbed his grab bar in the back, and he's like, "Why is it moving?" He turned around. There I am, holding still.
Now I'll be.
And then one of the fun things about the Serpentine was that guy on that Tri-Z.
Oh yeah.
With that old helmet and with them chicken legs he had going on. Out there doing that in shorts. That's just a combination for something bad to happen. But he did it and he rocked it.
I saw that myself, and I was gonna say something in the video, but you beat me to it as soon as you come around that corner. I ended up cutting it out in case the guy saw it, because I didn't want him to be like, "Oh, my legs aren't chicken" or whatever.
No, he knows he's got chicken legs. He can't hide it.
No, you roll up them shorts; those legs are glistening. Yeah. No.
I can't say nothing either. I don't hardly ever wear shorts, so I got chicken legs. Well, mine might be chicken thighs. They might be a little bit bigger around.
Hey, I can't say nothing. I was making a joke at the cabin before you got there that if I took my shirt off and everyone cut the lights off, it looked like Casper the Friendly Ghost was in there. I'm so pale. I look like the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man if I'm not careful. Friggin' woo!
I have a couple people that's like, dang, you tan really good. And I roll up my sleeve. Don't worry, there's a white boy in here.
It's not all tan, I promise you.
And this is the first time that I got to meet all you different YouTubers and Pete Hager. There's so many of you. Jackson Off Road. It's hard to name them all out and to get it right. But one thing I noticed, y'all are all taller in person. I don't think it's fair. I think I think we need to have like I don't know how else to put it. It ain't fair.
Yeah, I made a joke. Well, I say I made a joke. I've heard people ask me about my height, and I'm like, it's all those Tyson chicken tenders. What they put in the tenders to grow them. You eat them and you start growing. What is it? The
Well,
GMOs?
I'm a prime example that Marlboro stunts your growth.
The ideal Marlboro man.
I stopped growing up, started growing out.
Hey, I can't say nothing. I'm 21 and I'm starting to do the same thing. I got to get back in the gym.
Oh, me and my gym broke up. We quit working out.
Who's this Jim and why are you going to his house? Weirdo.
GYM, not GIM.
You talking about Slim Jim? Yeah, he's my best
Slim
friend.
Jim, step into Slim Jim. Bang, bang.
I'll be honest with you. I love watching your video and you going through the serpentine because as soon as you realize that you're like in a pickle, you, me, and I think Tyrese as well, we all have our little like sound effects that we make every time we're in a pickle. You go, ooh. That's exactly what you did before you downshifted. I was like, oh, uh-oh. I think I
think mine's ho.
Oh no. I do the same thing. I make some like weird squeak noise and then I'm like, oh, turn.
Or I'll start fussing at us. Come on, Justin, you can do better than this.
Speaking of noises that you make whenever you make a mistake, you want to talk about you sinking your 400 and turn it into a submarine?
Man, that was so scary. I was chasing down the Jesse Brewer from Brewer Off Road, and there were so many. There was Dad Speed, Jackson Off Road.
I think Tyler was there too.
Yeah, Tyler McNabb was part of that group, and even AJ, the Duran Scion at CMC, that's his channel. He got up ahead of me, and I guess because he's on a bike, and he's 6'8", so he could just stand up and look over the dust. But it got so dusty. And we was following the blue trail, and it came up to a spot where there was a way, this way, and that way. It's like 3 different ways. And the way the wind was blowing, it looked like dust was on all 3 of them. I'm like, well, which way did they go?
Flip a coin.
So when I went left and was following up, then I ran into some guys on some bikes. I'm like, I'm as lost as last year's Easter egg. They're like, were you following a group? Like, yeah, they went up a hill. Okay, good. Come down the hill. And all of a sudden, I was listening because you could hear Tyrese 700R from another state away.
You got that.
And I thought I heard that black, and I turned, and I'm like, okay. And when I turned it, when you look at the video, it looks pretty large. But when your glasses are covered in dust like that, this looks like just a little water puddle. No. I sank almost up to the fenders, and you could hear it in my voice. I'm like, oh. And I just start rocking it, and everybody that gave me grief over having oversized tires, they could suck it, because that's what got me out of that mud hole. I got 22s on the rear and 23s on the front.
Yeah, you were sitting there floating on the thing, trying to get it to go through.
And you could hear, and then on my video, I added the drums like.
That was a good touch. Yeah.
And when you hear me pull out, I'm like, okay, I'm done. Because the real bad part, it was me having to rev it up and just keep revving it and rocking it. It slung that sandy mud all over me.
Yeah, no, by the time he came back around and you asked me to check your backpack, you look like one of those Ninja Turtles. It was so brown.
Girls and a half cell, turtle power. I was like, I got my money maker. Let me shake it. And what was weird is when all that started to dry, I could feel my skin exfoliating. You know what I mean? It was all in the pores and everything else. I don't see how people pay money for a mud bath. They're nuts.
Not in a good way. And I can't imagine doing that. That would be horrible. I think we've done that a couple times.
I wouldn't like that.
There's like 2 or 3 times when we went out to Carolina Adventure Road that we came back and it was like absolutely horrendous. Like there was one race, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but like I was covered all the way through my undershirt covered. It was bad, real bad. Like it got so bad that at one point I just took my backpack off. I took my gloves off and threw all of it into the backpack, threw my backpack back on, and I was like, I'll just use my normal fingers. Because my hands were slipping so bad. I just kind of like stuck them between the grips and called it.
Oh, I get it. And when you know your gloves are that muddy, like I felt it a couple times. You'll see in my video, you just see my hand go up to the camera because typically you want to wipe the camera because you think you might. When you feel the splatter in your glasses, you might relate to this. You see the splatter hit your glasses, like you know it hit the camera.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I better not touch it. I'm going to smear it.
Yeah, because as soon as you touch it one time, it's just like, it goes right across it. You can't see
Winkle. Yeah, hang on a second. But it was intense. Ooh, I hit the camera. There we go. It's all right. We'll leave that in there. I shouldn't say I hit the camera. My knee hit the coffee table, which is supporting the camera.
Hey, that's how you get it done. Put a couple boxes up and throw a phone over top of it. That's what our tripod was for a while.
Wire. Yeah, I get it. It's all right. I like the way that sounded. For a wire.
So
I'm gonna start saying everything with a WH. You don't believe me? Just watch me.
It's like that meme with Stewie. Cool whip.
Cool whip. Why are you saying it like that? I'm not saying it anyway. Say cool whip. Cool whip.
Cool whip. Yeah, exactly. The other part that you were talking about, right after that tunnel where you had to have lost your flag in that tunnel.
Well, you brought it to my attention when you watched the video. You're like, dude, I heard a ting.
Well,
and
the crazy
it made me go back and look. Like you heard something go ping.
Well, the crazy thing is like because of how tall they are. Every time someone goes through, you can hear it smack, but you hear it run across the top. All you heard was one smack, and then after that, it stopped. I was like, yeah, that's where
it was over.
It's in the water.
And then when I noticed in that one video I put out where I'm backing the quad up and I added a sound effect to it at the end.
Yeah.
It wasn't there. It was gone.
So it has to be in the water.
That's where it had to be.
You know, it'd be fun.
It was an $18 one. It was a Rocky Mountain special, and it came in 2 pieces. So probably what happened is that little piece that joins them, I had the top one tight, but probably didn't make sure the Allen wrench was tight on the other half. So when it hit that, it was just, whoop. Oh. And everybody's like, dude, it broke it off clean. I'm like, there's no way. That's fiberglass. There's no way I hit something. Or I could just say, yeah, I was going so fast, it just chopped it off clean. You know what I mean?
You just sheared it. Well, the worst part is that like, where you're sitting at on the four-wheeler and where that is at, it's like close. When that like, I don't. How long is that? How tall is that? Like off your four-wheeler, that first segment.
I want to say 3 foot.
Because whenever you're sitting down, it's close to like riding height level. So like if you would have sheared that off, you'd have taken your head off too while you're at it, freaking visor and everything.
Let's get that cut.
Barber said I'm over for a trim. Not now. A little too much off the top of you.
I wanted a
That's
flat
me.
top, but I didn't mean that.
But yeah, I do think that like going through that little river bit and then up through I believe the yellow trail before we got to the blue trail, that was probably the most fun that I had. Just because it's like it felt like home. I'm not a big fan of uphill downhill. Just because I don't know. I've lived on a flat surface my entire life, so going like straight up or straight down really scares me. It was definitely not my element to do any of the stuff that we did at the Badlands, but I had a lot of fun doing that, and then I got a chance to get you on camera the entire time, which, by the way,
I can't wait to see that because I felt like I wasn't slow through there, even though I wasn't, giving it everything, but I felt like I was going through there pretty quick until we got up to that point where we got lost and did a battery change.
Which, by the way, is actually very funny because we both got to the same spot where you got lost and then still didn't know where to go.
Yeah, I mean, I that spot where we stopped did the battery change, if you noticed in that video, that's where I got turned around and had to back the quad up. It was at that spot.
Yeah. And Andrew's perspective, he actually his GoPro didn't record the audio. I guess he got busy, and whenever he put the battery back in, it didn't seal right, so the audio wasn't coming through, unfortunately, which is another reason why I probably should get that little foam thing you told me to get.
The wind slayer. Do you hear the sound quality on mine, right?
Yeah, it's crisp. Yeah, you don't necessarily need the media mod. The only reason why I went with that in the first place is because it's got the mic adapter. So if we wanted to add something to it, we could. Which honestly, if you're unplugging the mic to take the battery out, you're gonna like double check it before you start again. So but with that group and everyone going so fast, it's easy to make a small mistake like that. I mean, that's pretty much how you got lost.
Especially when you're sitting there and everybody, okay, we're getting ready to go, and you're like, record. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're gonna miss a step. And with the wind slayer, I think because when you put it on, you go into the GoPro settings, turn the wind reduction off, put the gain to max, and go. And it's still waterproof. It's got a foam pad around it. It's got extra layer protection. You've heard the audio in mine. I enjoy the wind slayer, and you use less battery because you're not using the battery to power the mic. You're not using the wind reduction processor. It makes a difference on the battery life.
Now, I know that we talked briefly about my settings and your settings that I wasn't going to leave on camera, and it didn't even work anyway because the footage corrupted. But I think that with the noise reduction, and if you dropped it down to a reasonable aspect ratio, like maybe 1080 instead of 4K, and then you added the Enduro battery to it, you could connect your camera. You cut it on have it on the whole day, and by the time you get done, you can be like, all right. That's
Y'all might be seeing more of my Honda Shadow videos because I enjoy that thing. I love being on the street. It doesn't beat my body up and stuff, but I went out and filmed it. I got to put it together. It went an hour and 30 minutes, and I still had 16% battery left.
Ooh, that's good. That's good.
Turning it to 1080p, and I put it at 30 FPS on 1080p.
That's gonna look good. That's gonna look real
good.
And
I think so. I haven't got to pull it off the SD card, and I do all my editing on my Galaxy S22 phone, and I have a little dongle. I take the SD card right out of the camera, pop it in that dongle, and I can plug it right in my phone, and I can just pull it all off right there. And what I do is I hit copy it to the phone. That way, when I get in there and I don't need that, well, dealing with 4K, I got that memorized. 4 gigs is 8 minutes and 52 seconds.
Whew.
And but with 1080p, it's like 27 minutes is 4 gigs.
You got that information like from the hip, like almost like a cowboy, like pow.
I can't even do it. Dude, I'm weird with numbers, and sometimes I can get the numbers wrong in my head, but I'm weird with numbers. I may not be able to remember how to spell anything, but I can remember numbers.
Well, that's also like really cool as well, because it speaks volumes to all the people out there that's like, well, I don't have a laptop, I don't have a computer. Well, you're editing on your phone and your videos are coming out crystal clear. There's no excuse. Come on, just do it.
I know sitting down with Sabo for a couple hours Friday night, Friday night, and no, it was Saturday night while we was down there, the night of the event, and I let him see what I was doing, and he goes, "I don't know how you do it. I don't have the patience for it." And I'm like, "Well, I don't know what to tell you. It's all I've been using, and when I first started it, it was aggravating. I was struggling with editing, but now that I've learned the Video Guru app, I can fly through it now. I know where all the effects that I want is. I know what I wanted to, the zooms and all that stuff. I figured it out where, like that first video that I put out, the first day, I did that in like 2 hours.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it took me 2 hours to download footage.
See, I mean, I had it all downloaded to the phone within it took maybe 6 minutes.
Wow.
I got the SanDisk Extreme, the hyper fast one, and since it's going right to the phone, and I hit copy because on it, because when I'm done with that big file, I'll go ahead and convert what I wanted out of that and throw the big file away, and then I'll bring in some more. That way, when I go to convert the whole video, I have plenty of space.
Got you. Okay. Yeah,
I'm sure
that makes
some
sense.
people will probably know what I'm talking about.
Well, yeah, I do something similar or close to it with my phone, because I directly connect my phone to my computer and stuff whenever I make like YouTube shorts or whatever, just because it keeps quality. If I download it directly to my phone instead of sending it through some other third-party software, whatever it is. Even email, sometimes some of my stuff doesn't come through clear, which really drives me crazy. And I feel like I'm going around my elbow to get to my thumb, but it works out and everything looks good. so.
It's scientifically proven nobody can lick their own elbow, and if you can, you're a weirdo.
Or maybe you shouldn't.
It's like, this is something you shouldn't be doing. I can't do it. That's a big elbow. I can't get to it.
Oh.
But we both had a moment there.
Yeah.
Talking about editing, yeah. I tried the other night I edited on my phone, and I took and put the video from the phone to the laptop, and I tried to go through YouTube Studio. That way, because I can't do an end screen with the phone. It doesn't give you the option through YouTube Studio to do an end screen with the phone. So I was like, I'm just going to upload it through the laptop and just go ahead and do the end screen all in one shot. And it said it was going to take 6 hours to upload it. I'm like, nope, nope, not happening. I just deleted that upload and went back to the phone, and my phone had it uploaded in 2 hours.
Hit that. How about no?
How about freaking no?
Yeah, no, some of my videos take a lot longer to download, and I've noticed that the more bit rate you throw at it, the harder it is to download some videos, and it also depends on the file size too. However, though, it does help for video quality, but it in turn causes a huge issue with like downloading speeds, which is a big pain in the tail. That's like the whole point of it, trying to get stuff out fast. But then again, I do schedule stuff. So.
I've started doing the scheduling. I didn't when I was first starting out. I would let it upload overnight. It go on there 2, 3 a.m. and it was aggravating to me because when you first upload it, it is fuzzy.
It be in bad quality, like 360p.
It might even be less than that. It might be down to 1p. But So what my theory was, there ain't many people up at that hour. And typically it takes YouTube to put it to high quality. It takes 2 hours,
give or take. It's
to
about a 4-hour process.
yeah, maybe so. So that way, when people woke up, it was clear.
Well,
And then I learned how to schedule it, and I would schedule it like a day out. And as soon as it went on there, it was clear right then and there.
yeah, and normally I said the 4 hours because 2 to upload and then 2 to process. So give or take. Recently I started doing the member only stuff, and then it goes public right after, and that's only because a good friend of mine out in Georgia, he actually bought a subscription to the member only thing, which originally I wasn't going to start doing until there was like 10 or 15 people that were interested, or at least one fan who was interested in it. But Jackson Off-Road made sure to tell me that he was displeased with
the members only
with the members only stuff, because he's so excited to watch the video, and he click on it and it says you're not allowed to access it because members or whatever. But hey, you can always spend $4 to become one of the bros. But you also could wait just a little bit longer and it'll come out for free. You don't have to waste your money on it, and I promise you that. but it was just funny that people share that same sentiment where it's like, come on now, I want to watch the video. Like, why are you doing that?
It'll send me because I'm subscribed, but I'm not a member. I'll get the notification that you've uploaded, and I'll click on it. Members only. I'm like, listen here, buddy.
The only thing that scares me about stuff like that is I'm worried that people are going to get to the point where they're like, he's a sellout. He's trying to make it to where people can only watch his content with money. And as much fun as it would be.
I was members with 2 different YouTubers. I was with Sabos, and then I did Garage MC. I was his 500cc one. Just as if I was the first one. I think I've been the only one. I could be wrong, but all that stuff was adding up, all these subscriptions and everything, and I just had to it would hit weird in the month. It's like, okay, I got $70 in the account, and I got 3 days till payday. Well, the next day, all of a sudden, it's like $17, and it's like, YouTube subscription has taken in. It's like, no! Starts sounding like Homer Simpson. Dope!
Yeah, I understand that more now so than ever, because I'm in the midst of trying to finish my my college degree with an internship, so I currently don't have a job. So every penny I have, I pinch it and make sure to hang on to that sapsucker, because I don't know whenever.
I bet you put a quarter in your butt, you'll grind it to a dime.
Yeah.
See, I'm a single father, and everything's rent, everything's on me.
Yeah, I imagine
so
it's that way.
I don't make bad money, or there's no such thing as bad money, but I make decent, but it's not great. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, could be better.
It could be better, but it's not bad.
Yeah, I totally get that.
I spent all my savings and everything last year because, I had a 17 model KX100, the Noisy Cricket. And when I was out at the Loretta Lynn's October 15th, 2022, I was out in the single track for like 3 hours without a water pack because I was stubborn. It's just one extra thing to think about. You got the little water thing right here, and you're riding and arm pumps real bad. You're like, where's that thing at? I don't want to deal with that. It's just something else to think about.
Yeah, we got the same issue with the GNCC stuff. Like, you see the pros out there with it shoved through their helmet, and I'm like, I can't do that. This thing's about like inch and a quarter, and I'm trying to shove it through my helmet, and I'm just, you get about midway through your first lap, mile marker 3, you're like, whoa! You can't get it.
And I got a cool German McGrath Showtime Monster Energy helmet, and I don't want to cut the little mesh right there to do it.
Yeah.
And my brother's like, just put it in your mouth and suck it. It brings you back to life. Listen to me. I didn't listen. And I was out there for 3 hours, and we were almost at the end of the main trail. I made it through the expert Loop A single track, and several people were like, "You just did Loop A on a 100 Super Mini? Like, how did you do the uphills?" Like, I clutched the out of it. What do you mean? It was, and sometimes it was. A lot of times when it would start bogging, I'd hop off of it, get to the side, and and I'm almost to the end. We got like 3 miles or so before we're at the end of the main. We're done for the day. My inner thighs started cramping so bad. You're supposed to ride with your toes in. Well, they were cramping so bad, I was riding like this. And I was on an uphill. I was in 3rd gear, just maxed. Ah! A root grabbed my left boot and just turned it around backwards. Ripped the ACL from the bone, tore the meniscus, femoral patella tendon, fractured patella, or if you don't know what a patella is, the kneecap, and all the tendons connected to it. I messed it up, and there was 2 guys that were riding behind me, and when it happened, I didn't know what had happened yet. I just felt this horrible snap, and it was like, what? Then the pain said, it's like, and I just leaned over on a tree, and then I fell on the ground, and I'm screaming. It's hurting. It's setting in, and they came up, and I'm like, I don't even know what happened. Something happened to my knee. They're like, dude, we watched your foot go backwards. Jeez. And they went to stand me up, and I went to stand on it, and it just went, and I fell back over. They were like, we're fixing to have to let's call in the life flight and everything else. And I'm like, no, don't call no. I've been coming out here for years. I've been able to ride out. Y'all just give me a can of corn and Diet Coke. I'll be okay. Pick me up and put me on this bike and start it for me. It'll start up. It's got T2 in it. It'll start. And they did. They started it and put me on it, and I rode out with an ACL ripped from the bone.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have done that. I'd have laid there. Let me die. It's over. It's over.
Just before I die, give me that can of corn and Diet Coke.
Point me to the closest 7-Eleven. I want me a honey bun.
Well, out here we got the twice dailies, so just take me to the twice dailies so I can get me a meatball sandwich. I want that Nashville hot chicken sandwich to go, and I want it toasted.
But sir, it'll take 5 minutes. I don't care. I'll be fine. Just let me sit here.
Don't let me die with being hungry. I want a full stomach when I die. But so I had my surgery on December 7th. And I got a cadaver's ACL and titanium screws and everything in here, so I'm Frankenstein's monster.
Oh, we're Terminator, Jesus.
Yeah, well, they was like, we could take some tendons from your butt, but I'm like, no, I've been growing this butt since I was a baby. Just put a cadaver's ACL in there. You know what I mean? And
you don't get this thing overnight. It's staying.
And 2 weeks before my surgery, I put my Noisy Cricket on Marketplace, and I had probably $6,000 in this bike.
How much you give for it?
$2,200 what I gave for it originally.
Yeah.
And then I put a whole brand new cylinder head on it. I put a whole new jug, and it had a Wiseco Racer Elite piston in it, Electron carburetor, V-Force 3 reeds, Pro Circuit pipe, race tech suspension, everything you could do to the stock bore, we did it to that bike. My brother dialed the suspension in. He's like he went to college out here in Paris, Tennessee. He graduated with honors. He's a certified motorcycle technician, and he worked at Sloan's for like 4 or 5 years.
His resume is longer than a receipt at CVS.
Well, you got a good point there. That's more pills, and that's was that got more money than Carter's got liver pills. But he really dialed. He kept getting on it. He loved it because he's like, it's like riding a pit bike, but it's a super mini. And he kept dialing it in. The best we could do with suspension. But when I first got the bike, I was like maybe 195. And that was when I came out of rehab. We'll get to that story in a bit. And I was just eating everything, kept gaining weight. And I got up to 265. My brother's like, well, they don't make anything spring rate for your weight on this little KS100. So every bump, every root, it was just boom. I was just feeling it in it would just rattle my wrist. It would rattle my shoulders. I could hang with the big dogs for about 15 minutes, and then I was just gassed out.
Dang.
And, but after I hurt my knee and everything, I'm like, well, I think I'm going to go to sport quads. Because even after after I heal up, it's still it's in your head. You go to lean over, you're going to put your foot out. And after dealing with that pain, I don't want to go through that again. Had it on Marketplace for $4,000. And this guy, I don't remember their names anymore. This couple guys, they were probably 18 or 19, sent me pictures of this 400EX. The swing arm was already painted safety red and the A-arms. But it looked really good in the pictures, but when they showed up, it was a little bit rough. Carrier bearing was gone. The hub was loose. And I guess I was just wanting to ride one more time for my surgery. I just traded it even. And it didn't even make it through the first ride. The battery fell out of it. The chain fell off of it. And then it had one of them FMF pipes on it, but it was like the Quantum or something. It was back like in the early mid 2000s, where it was that tin can looking FMF ones.
Yeah.
And then somebody cut it down to a shorty. So it was so loud that you get tunnel vision when you it was so loud. And then when you thrashed into it, it would spit oil out of the valve cover.
Good Lord.
Right onto your pants. It ruined a pair of pants. Dadgummit.
Hey, if there's oil under it, there's oil in it. So that's all that matters.
Sure. So after the surgery, and that was terrible because I couldn't walk on it for a month. And my bathroom and everything, bedrooms are up. I live in a townhome. So the laundry room, master bathroom, and all that's upstairs. So I had to 1 foot hop it up my steps. I looked like Tigger if Tigger looked like a jack. You know what I'm saying? But finally I got to where one of the family members found me one of those walkers with the handbrakes on it and stuff. And if you got tired, I could spin it around and sit on it. We got over to my dad's garage, and I got to tearing into that thing. It had standard bolts in the head. When we pulled the valve, I got the valve cover off. There was so much gray RTV that it squirted out and went around the cam. And we got all that taken apart and got down to the piston. It had a 12-to-1 high compression piston in it, stock bore. But I had to hammer the wrist pin out.
Ting! Ting!
Poor little old tank. Had to hammer the wrist pin out of it, and my brother's there with me, and he goes, we should not be having to hammer. I mean, I'm talking 30 minutes of hammering to get the wrist pin out.
Was it worth
it? He goes,
it?
this ain't good. I think your bottom end's toast. Like this connecting rod's gotten overheated. He goes, you're gonna have to take this, and we didn't have the proper tools to redo a bottom end. So I ended up just taking it to Chris Grissom, who was the instructor at the college out in Paris, Tennessee.
Ooh.
And that man he's forgotten more than we'll know. And when you get around him, the information just oozes out of him. that he was my brother's instructor. I didn't go to college out there, so I go out to talk to him. He goes, "All right, why do you think you had to hammer that wristband out? Why this connecting rod and all this? What do you think happened?" I was like, "You know what I think happened? It ain't got no Earl in it." He goes, "Well, one of the things I'm gonna look at when I tear it down is he rebuilt the crank, and he's the one that found out that it had a light and flywheel in it. He said it was like a pound and 5 ounces taken out of that flywheel.
Wow.
And whoever did it did a decent job because they took a punch and punched so you could see top dead center when you took the inspection holes off."
Hey, that's always nice when someone marks it for you.
Yeah, like otherwise you'd have to just guess where top dead, or you just if you know, you know.
Yeah.
But it was helpful that we knew because you see the punch.
Especially him.
And his first thing was, I want to look at that oil pump, and he found out that the valves in that oil pump were bad. He goes, "I could rebuild this oil pump, but I think it would just be beneficial to put a new oil pump in it." And then the inner hub and the pressure plate's brand new, clutch is brand new, but the basket was still within specs. So it still has the same basket in it. I'll deal with that the next time the clutch goes out. But he rebuilt that bottom end. It was $1,300 to have that bottom end rebuilt by him. And then I used Michael Sabo's discount and ordered the top end kit. I'm talking the cylinder, all brand new head. I just threw that other one away. It was tough. The motor mount on the valve cover was broke off.
Gone.
Bye. And so I ordered all new head, and I went with a 10-to-1. I talked to Mike at BP Racing. He goes, "Dude, for the kind of riding you're doing, let's not go with a 11-to-1 or anything else. Let's stick with 10-to-1 so you don't have to worry about detonation knock and having, you get out in Tennessee. I mean, the humidity's so bad and you get moisture in your fuel. Detonation knock is a real thing."
Well, luckily I hadn't gotten a chance to prove that yet. So.
Oh, I proved it 3 times. I had to redo the
it.
top end 3 times in the noisy cricket.
Sorry.
And it was from running bad old fuel. If it got more than 2 weeks old, I would drain the tank and put fresh in it. That's how bad it got on that 100.
Ooh. Yeah, no. Gas is too expensive to be doing that. I'd run it out.
I started back then, 2020. I mean, I was buying T2, and it was still like $120 for a jug of VP T2. And that's like 98 or 99 octane, and it was a 40-to-1 and it had lead in it.
Ooh.
But it was very oxygenated.
Yeah, oxygen rich or something. Yeah,
oxygen enriched. But what the thing is, you're thinking it's race fuel. This stuff will last for a while. No. That oxygen soaks the moisture up out of the air, and after 2 weeks, that fuel is doo-doo. Toast. So the best results is if you bought T2, burn through it right there at the race or something.
Huh. That's crazy.
And then my brother and I, we got to where we were doing a half and half mix. We would use V-Power at the Shell station, 93 octane, and Amsoil Dominator 40-to-1, and we would do a half and half mix. Wow. And that worked really well for him, especially on his Husky 300.
I was about to say that would work good.
Yeah, it worked really well. But according to Chris Grissom, he says C12 and mix that up, with your 2-stroke, or if you're running 4-stroke. Either C12 runs cooler because it doesn't have the oxygen in it. It runs way cooler.
That'd probably be
but
good
who can
for,
afford that stuff?
Well, yeah, it'd probably be good for like longer races, like for the GNCC stuff that we used to do.
Yeah.
Now the closest thing we got to that is like 110 octane, and most of the time we just throw it in it. And
I don't know if I would ever want to run 110 octane in there. I know C12 I think it's like 98 or 99 octane.
I can't remember for the life of me. Oh no, we didn't run it raw. We ended up doing the same thing that you're talking about, but we mixed it with like 93 and 110.
Gotcha.
And we'd mix it and run it, and then there was also like some type of there's like a destabilizer or something that we would put in it just to make sure it didn't like
I mean,
corrode the pipes.
there was no
or something.
ethanol in it.
Yeah, just to make sure. But that was back when we could afford it, and the economy has changed, and now it's like
You're telling me
like
I got enough groceries for 3 days, and that was $120.
You fill a shopping cart, you're not leaving sub $1,000.
You know, it's the cover charge at Walmart around here is $100 just to walk in the door.
God knows. Here's a tenner. I'll be back in an hour. Gotta go to the ATM. I'll be back.
But I got that head kit and everything, and I went with it. It did have the 400 did have a stage 3 hot cam in it originally.
Ooh.
But the cam journals wore out. Like you could tell that oil pump wasn't getting oil up to that top like it should have. It was all the lobes and the cams itself were all I can't explain it, like it was
warped out.
Polished finish. So I went with a stage 2, 10-to-1 Wiseco piston, and I got that heavy duty cam chain, that 450R cam chain, and I got those titanium cylinder bolts. Ooh. And I got the ARP 12-point head bolts and everything in it with titanium washers, all that, putting it together. And I had a Comedyc gasket kit, but when I was torquing the cylinder down, I had it on the workbench, and my elbow, I went to turn to hold the motor still while we was torquing it. My elbow landed on the Honda bond, and it squirted the Honda bond out of my brand new Comedyc gasket.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I laugh about it now too. But I had a whole Vertex gasket kit as a backup. So the head gasket is Vertex. And that's the only thing I'm noticing. And it's not like, dude, I got probably 22 hours on this oil change now. I use Amsoil. And it's just like an 1/8 of an inch overfilled on the dipstick. So probably 1/4 of a quart, maybe not even that. And you'll see a little hazing right at the head. But it's not it's still got just a hair too much oil in it. I haven't had to add oil to it at all. So it's just enough to make it moist.
But not enough to cause a problem.
Exactly. So I was thinking I'm going to have to tear it back apart, go with a Comedyc, and then my brother's looking at it, he goes, "It's a Honda. It's got oil in it. Just freaking run it until it's time to redo that top end."
She'll be fine.
Because I'm not having any, dude, it's been a year now, and I still have never had to use choke to start it.
Wow. Yeah. That's the first thing I had to do on my 450. Let's pull the choke out and start her.
Well, then 450s, if it's got the Unicam in it, every 5 hours, you got to do a valve adjustment.
Yeah, that pain in the tail.
My brother did the valves for me. He came in with the feeler gauge, and he probably spent a good 45 minutes to an hour double checking it and going through it. Like, he set my valves for me, and we put the blue Loctite on the locking nuts and everything. And that right there, I believe, is why this thing still starts without choke. It runs so good. And then I got in there and played with the jetting. It had a 170 dyno jet in it when it was just a stop bore. But they didn't have an airbox lid. I ordered an airbox lid, and I put perforated holes in it to give it a little bit more air. But I did it where it was around, like it was just holes down the side and on the back. So my theory was water splashed, it wouldn't splash right on the filter. The filter had a deck over it.
Yeah, it go underneath it or around it. Yeah, I see what
you're saying.
Well, and I guess the question is, once you sunk it, did it work?
Yeah, I didn't have any issues.
All right. Well,
I was waiting on it too. I was like, and it did get it in there. You saw me ride right out.
Hey, proven.
It's proven. It worked.
Best airbox mod in the business right here.
And then I used 11/32 drill bit when I did it. And the reason for that, those yellow 3/8 plugs, They're little plugs, like, and heat and air, we'll get these filter dryers, and they'll come with 3/8 yellow plugs in the ends of them and stuff like that. And then tested balance, you drill holes in the ductwork to get your probes in there to measure the airflow inside the ductwork. And they're 3/8. So we use 11/32 hole. So when you pop that 3/8 plug in there, like, let's say I know if it's to be a swamper, I could just pop those plugs in there and then boom, it's waterproof. Or when I'm pressure washing.
Wow. Okay.
I just pop those holes in there and boom, it's a sealed up air box.
Wow.
And yeah. And then I took that 170 Dynojet out of it and I put a 162 Ken jet back in it with a 42 Pilot. You wrote it. The jetting, I think, is pretty dialed in.
Yeah, it ran smooth. I didn't have any issues, and it didn't bog too much either. Like even if I was going slow, it didn't feel like it. Like you would just give it a little bit of gas, and it'd take it right out, no matter what gear it was in. It worked out. It was pretty good. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. It was. I haven't rode a stock 400 yet to compare it. Well, no, I take that back. I have. No, maybe. We don't know if it's stock or not.
Yeah, baby.
we don't know if that one's stock or not. We've ridden one, and it was pretty rowdy. It was on par with yours. I'd say riding the two of them. The only issue is we rode it across the field here, so I had a chance to wind it out. Yours, I didn't want to wind it out in the woods because I'd end up sending it off one of those curves if I'm not careful.
I could hear you behind me, even over yours, ride yours. I could hear you like you were having fun behind me.
Yeah, I was nipping at your heels trying to catch up. Well, I wouldn't even say catch up. I was right behind you. I was just trying to.
I've had a feeling.
Stay in line.
I was on your quad. I wasn't comfortable because I mean, that's the first time I ever ridden a Raptor. So I'm like, oh, I'm way up here. I'm sitting on top of it. I'm like, okay. And it's not mine. So and then there's so much dust from the guys in front of you that I couldn't really romp it and see where the heck I was going.
Well, that's why I was like, hey, you want to like do a spin out here real quickly just to get comfortable before you went in? Not because I was like, I don't trust you. You don't know how to ride. It was more like, you've never ridden it before. You want to get a feel for it kind of thing, just to see. Well,
I had in my mind too that we were sitting there. As soon as I get out there and start ripping, those guys will be ready to go.
Yeah, and then go figure. Walk off and leave us. We don't know where the devil we're going. Follow the yellow trail. Where's the yellow trail? It'd be like that scene from The Wizard of Oz. Follow the yellow brick road. Like where? Where? Yeah, exactly. Put him up.
Come on. It reminds me of Mr. T when I talked about that 1-800 Colette bike. I pity the fool that calls 1-800 Colette. There's still times with that first video I put out when we're over there doing the Uganda Knuckles. But do you know the way? You might think you know the way, but you do not know the way. That is a trap. That is a trap.
Yeah, that was fun. Just sitting there. That's normally when I have the most fun, is whenever I'm sitting around. Like, I may not be the best rider through and through, but it's a lot of fun just to like sit around and talk with people.
Yeah,
now, I guess
I had a blast with that.
I guess before
come on, put the cookie down.
Get to the job.
It's a new gym be put in every city. It become 25-hour fitness. 1 extra hour of working out, yeah.
I still can't remember where that's from. I remember hearing it, and that's the third time you've done that. And I'm like, where is that from?
I'll tell you, Lamb of God singer does a really good impersonation. They did like a weird Arnold Schwarzenegger playing in a band metal cover or metal album.
Really?
Yeah, Lamb of God. And
okay.
That's where I heard that from. And he was like, "Could you imagine Arnold Schwarzenegger and get ready for drum rehearsal?" He goes, "Okay, the bass player's here. Where's the drummer?"
I'll have to go back and find that. I'm pretty sure I've ran across that before because I remember the reference. I was like, I can't remember for the life of me where that's from. I thought it was a movie for a second because you throw out so many movie references when we're talking. I was like, Which
I know.
movie?
That one was from Lamb of God, and I don't think there's a video. It was on an album, and it was an album that my kid brother showed me, and it's pretty freaking funny. It's even, and one of the songs is the title, "Get to the top, get to the top."
So I guess just in the interest of making sure we cover all of the stuff that we're gonna try and talk about, was there anything from the bash that you wanted to talk about, or because we pretty much covered everything I could think of, right there at the Serpentine.
I was so disappointed that we didn't get to do the drag race.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal was. Andrew's the drag racer on the channel, and he really wanted to. Well, I say Andrew's the drag racer.
Me and him both talked about it on my second video I put out. Like, me and him both I wanted to put my 416 up against his Raptor because I knew his Raptor would win. I wanted to see just how the Hornet held up against those guys.
He had also wanted to race against Tyrese too. They raced at in our Busco series when he came out for the little birthday thing I did. That was a while back. That's almost 2 or 3 years ago now. That was like it'd be 2 years now because it was my 20th birthday. I'm about to turn 22. Yeah, he wanted a rematch because his Raptor wasn't working well that day. So yeah, his brakes messed up, so he was riding the Suzuki, and he wanted to go get his Raptor, but it never worked out, so he ended up using mine. But yeah, that would have been awesome to try and see how that. It'd be like a Clash of Titans, two.
I wanted to do that so bad. Now, when we left the Serpentine, I thought that's where we were heading, and you can see in the video, like, we went to go that way, and all of a sudden, Dad Speed and Ashton C and all them looked over and, "Is that barrel racing?" And I didn't say it. The camera was like, no, just going to drag racing. I was like, wait. Oh, I guess we'll go do the barrel racing.
Now, I thought about trying to compete in a couple of those events because it would have been cool, but I didn't know if they wouldn't allow me because I didn't sign up beforehand. Do you think was it like
I didn't sign up at all?
You didn't sign up, so you just walked up there, gave them your name, and that was it?
Yep.
Well, darn it! I should have done that because I didn't want to do the Serpentine event because there's too many people, and that it'd have been expensive to flip there, But whenever we were doing the barrel racing, I can turn left and I can turn right. Maybe not good, but enough to put numbers down. So
I don't like the right hand turns. I'm like Tyrese. I'm not a right hand turn guy, but I made it. My first one was like 23.75.
Really?
And my second one was a 25.12. It was terrible.
Didn't you
But that last one I put in,
it was 22.
I clocked a 22.63 on my last one. That's that one you sent me the video to it.
Yeah.
The video you took?
Yeah, the one where you almost took out that cone.
Yeah, man. I thought when I was riding it, I did take it out. I was expecting to come around the corner and it was gone. I was like, well, damn, it was close.
Sport quad Formula Drift right there. Grazing the edge, coming across it.
And when I walked up and looked at the sheet and I saw my final run was a 22.63, I was like, yeah. And when I was over talking to Dad Speed, he clocked a 23.1. And Odyssey Off-Road, he was standing there, and I'm like, I clocked a 22.63. You hear Odyssey Off-Road? He's like, yeah. That last one that you did, you just took a totally different approach to it. Like, you swung wide and came in, man, and just getting it.
I love Joe. He is so funny.
Hey, he is funny. hey, listen here, guy.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes he'd say something, and I'd be like, what? And just cause the delivery's fast, but the way he says things is so funny.
It is. I had a big old time with him.
We were sitting on the couch that night before when we got there that Thursday, going into Friday, and we were talking about. He was talking about how people make fun of him and call him that comedian, the Bill Burr guy, the bald headed
Bill Burr.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, it's a Bill Burr. I was like, yeah, spot on. Well, to a degree. But
I love that piece that Bill Burr does on Gold Diggers. He goes, there's an epidemic going on in this nation, and it's the gold diggers. We got to talk about it. Why is everybody so quiet in here?
I think my favorite skit that I've heard him do was the one talking about putting together the furniture, like the IKEA stuff. I mean, obviously, because of the channel, I can't repeat a third of it. But
yeah,
but it's funny because that's with any build project, anyway, all the way down to Legos to a full wheeler. You know, when you start putting stuff together, it's like, where'd the thing go? You're looking for it the whole darn time, and it's just like, where'd it go? Oh, but yeah.
But that was the one thing I was disappointed about. When we got over there, and they're only letting the side-by-sides. Liam with Power Sports Nation's like, they're only letting the side-by-sides. Y'all missed the drag race, and we were all like, whoa.
Come to find out, they put the events at the same time, and then they're like, figure it out. Like, what the heck? Why would you put them at the same time? You know, like, what was the point in that?
What's wrong with here, guy?
Yeah. So you expect us to go all the way over there to the bell race, put down 3 good lap times, and then come back over here to get smoked in the drag race? Why not just like, oh, this one's at this time, we'll let the side by sides run, and then swap it? Like, there's a way to fix that, you know.
We're gonna blame this one on Dad Speed.
Dad Speed, if you're watching, I didn't say that.
I said it, buddy. He should laugh. He's got a good sense of humor. He's funny. I enjoyed hanging out with him. And when I let him ride the Hornet, he came back. He's like, dude, it's a whole lot more powerful than I thought it was going to be.
Speaking of that, when Andrew put the battery into his camera and I was watching the people going around there, I saw your 400 sitting there doing a wheelie before trying to go up that hill. I was like, there is no way Justin did that. Come to find out, it was Dad Speed on your four-wheeler. I was like, darn. I thought you were sitting there doing some like stunt tricks going up the hillside.
He can ride. I believe he can outride me. He can outride me.
Oh,
give it a little more time, you know. If I get more seat time, other than chasing down dirt bikes and stuff, I could probably. I think that he did it fine, but that he's a lot lighter than me. That rear shock, you notice that yourself. It is. Well, it's toast.
I'm a big boy. I can't. Camera don't even hide that. You know, that's the sad part. So no matter what I do, I'm gonna make a rear shock scream going across bumps.
I might be short, but you know, I'm 230 pounds.
Oh, I am large and in charge. 350 over here. I'll crunch a rear shock in a heartbeat.
Yeah, and you see the Serpentine video that I did with the Lowrider song?
Yeah.
And the picture that Badlands took, you can see that it might look like the tires are rubbing the rear fender with me on it.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't too bad when you were riding it because, you know, it didn't look bad. You know, you look good on it. But I can't imagine what it would look like when I was on it.
Oh, I watched it, and when I was riding behind you, I was seeing what's happening. Even I was like, okay, that's probably what it's doing with me on it too. And I was watching it, I'm like, whoo, that rear shock is done.
Probably should go over to eBay. Get you a nice resi shock, and then you can start adjusting it with that little tool at the bottom.
Right now, Garage MC's working out a deal with me. As soon as I have some cash, he's got some YFZ front shocks, and they'll go right on a 400X.
Really, the YFZ ones?
Yep.
Is there a specific year or just any of them?
06, 07, don't hold me to that. But he's got a set of those YFZ front shocks, and then he's got a 400EX and a 450R rear shock are the same. But he's rebuilding the rear shock for me and powder coating it black to match the YFZ front shocks.
Nice.
And he's working out a pretty good deal with me. I'll keep that between me and him. So we're fixing to upgrade the suspension on that thing until I can afford. What I want to put on there is the Elka Legacies. That's my dream suspension. $1,400, but someday. I'll have that on there.
Let me just clarify one thing before we continue. By keeping it between you and Matt, you talking about the price, or does this need to be cut out of the video? I was about to say, what in Justin? You do realize we're recording this to go on the Final Cut podcast?
We'll keep the prize between me and him. Matt's turned out to be a really good stand-up guy. Anybody who's watching this, go over and check out Garage MC's channel. He's a stand-up guy. When my son had some issues at school and had some bad thoughts and stuff, he gave my son a quad, and we drove all the way up to Jersey, and did some videos up there with him and everything. And dude, he was, as soon as we pulled up, he was as nice as can be. He wouldn't let me buy any food or put money. I tried to put money on the table. He goes, "You leave that money on that table. We're no longer friends." Like, he wouldn't let me. I mean, him and his mom was super nice, and I mean, it was just a good time up there. But to tell you this, I don't. He probably knows this too. I don't know if I ever want to make that trip again in a Versa. I may not even want to go eat at a Jersey Mike's right now. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. You're good. You're. Oh, darn it. Yeah, that was. Yeah, I wish.
You react.
I should have kept recording. I was so
You
happy.
should have, man. That was fantastic.
Dude, the stupid laptop has absolutely pissed me off today. It's just like, it wants to be sold.
I can tell you was having trouble because you were like, "All right, we'll pick back up in an hour," and I ended up taking a little cat nap on the couch after that. And I'm like, "Oh, it's 6 o'clock my time, probably 7 o'clock his time. He's still having issues."
Yeah, no, I was plumb out of luck. Everything I tried, it didn't work. I was like, whatever. I'll just go back with the old setup and we'll see what happens. But hey, it turned out pretty well and everything looks good. So I ain't gonna argue too much with it.
I've enjoyed it because I can see what you're working on, and it's actually kind of neat with the smoke in the background and stuff.
Yeah. It imbues the idea of how the podcast this morning crashed and burned, and it's just sitting there.
You do know everything runs on magic smoke, because if you let the smoke out, it no longer works.
Yeah, it is enough to make a grown man cry, and I was about close to it. Well, I guess in the interest of, my technology stuff not breaking on me, you want to try and close this out with your little testimony part?
I sure will. I'll try to keep it short and sweet.
No, don't keep it short and sweet. Darn it, I want to hear the whole thing because I already heard it twice, and I'm excited to hear it. And by golly gee, there's a reason why all this stuff won't let me record, and I'm gonna get your darn testimony on that on the podcast, because I want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to understand why you do what you do, and that is very important. The why is the main focal point of each channel. Like, everyone has a different reason, you know. With us, I want to have fun, and I want to inspire a younger generation to enjoy, going outside, riding four-wheelers, and, most importantly, being an ambassador for Christ, stand for something. I mean, even if you don't want to stand for Christianity, stand for something,
I am a Christian. You know this, but I'm going to say it now that we're recording. I am a Christian. I was raised Baptist, but I like to say I'm Baptist-costal. I'm a Baptist that likes to play music.
Hey, you mess with them drums.
I'm a guitar player, and my brother's the drummer.
Really?
And my mom was a bass player.
Darn, you guys got a whole family.
We did have a family band. We played in churches. I used to be a youth minister.
Really? Wow, I didn't know that.
Back in the day, yeah. We went around and did youth groups and played for them, and we did that. I don't know if you heard it. It's the Looney Tunes song. I was thinking the other day, what if cartoons got saved? They'd sing a whole new praise.
Yeah,
I did all the different cartoon characters' voices.
Wow, that is impressive. That is a large roster.
Kermit the Frog here singing, "Hi ho, hallelujah."
That would be so good. You come walking up into one Sunday service, and it's just like, what's going on here? And you just hear Kermit from the baptistry.
And then I did Astro. Wow, whoa, whoa, whoa.
That's cool. I didn't
North, where?
see now that's information that I didn't even know yet. That's cool.
You have to look that up. It's one of cartoons got saved.
Okay.
That was back in probably 02, 03, maybe that I can remember right to that song. Might even be older than that. But that was a good one. And we did a lot of Stephen Curtis Chapman songs and stuff like that. That was back in the day, man. But I got my second marriage. Like, even though I made the decision, she had it in front of me. But I got bad on drugs and opiates, pills. I even the hard stuff, heroin and all that stuff. I did it. And from 2011 to 2016, I was hard on opiates. It got to where the dope sick was set in. You start pawning your tools off just to get unsick, calling out from work because you didn't have any dope to go to work. You became slave to it. And it was very frustrating. And then one of the things that I'm so glad is gone is dealing with drug dealer time. Like you go drive out somewhere in some parking lot and you're looking over your corner like, oh, I know a cop's know exactly what we're doing. This looks like a drug deal. We're gonna get busted. And then the guy's like, I'll be there in 10 minutes. Like, you said that an hour ago. What the? And then they finally get there. Oh man, I don't have it on me. I got to take your cash and go down the road and I'll come right back. And you're taking a gamble if they just robbed you. You know what I mean? Like, it was always that, but you did it because you get sick.
I can relate to that just from buying stuff off Facebook Marketplace. People on there do the same darn thing. Let me just take your $2,000 and I'll be back with the $450. I left it at a buddy's house. It'll be okay. You ain't taking nothing from me, sir. I will see you when you come back.
And 2016, I got off the opiates, and they say that your want for it never leaves you. It has left me, I think. You have to want it to be done. You have to want to be better. You have to want to get over it. Some people's like, it never leaves you and everything. No, because you're still wanting the rush. And there is no rush like it, and you always chase that rush. That is true. There's no other rush like it. When it hits, it's like, but it's not worth it. It's not. That 2 hours of a rush is not worth ruining your life over. I had my own house, mortgage, property. I lost it all, lost custody of my son. I signed emergency custody over to my dad and everything. And I was living out of my truck down a dirt road. Any moment, somebody caught me knocking on the window with a big old mag light, like, hey, get lost.
Got here.
And so I did that. I lived out of my truck for like 5-6 weeks. And I turned myself in. And it was even when I was in rehab and everything, I was the one that liked the group sections, because I get right up. It's like, it's gone. I don't ever want to go back. Like I said, you have to want to get better. Anybody that's watching this, there's light at the tunnel. You don't have to go down that road. Especially if you get into this sport, you won't have the money to buy the drug.
No, you pay for one HMF exhaust or a set of Elkas, and you're done. Over.
You're done.
You're done. Well, that also speaks volumes about you and your character too, because I mean, like, just the willingness to step up to the plate and be like, it's my fault and turn yourself in, kind of thing. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like
I did it. I didn't. Most people, they go to rehabs because it's court ordered.
Yeah.
And when they're there, they got no plans to get better. They just met new connects in rehab.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the sad part too, is people notice that it's just like that stuff in school. Whenever that teacher asks you, hey, get a lab partner for this assignment, and you go walking over to your buddy, it's just like, what's up, stranger?
Like, hey, I know you.
Hey, what's up? Yeah, that's.
But
it's sad, but it's
week out of a week out of rehab, my brother, he did the tough love thing with me. And even if I needed gas money, say, hey, I got this DVD player. You want to buy it for $10? Nope, not giving it to you. Not funding your habit. I'm like, I just need gas money, but it was tough love, is what it was. And a week out of rehab, he came and picked me up and took me down to Loretta Lynn's for the fall ride. And he had his Husky 300, as I call it, the Kraken, because you crack the throttle on a 300 two-stroke. It's like releasing the Kraken.
Yeah.
He says himself, he goes, some of the coolest stuff I did was in the middle of a whiskey throttle.
I assume that ties back into that story where you ended up hurting yourself, yeah?
Yeah, this was back in 2019 when I got out of rehab. And I hurt myself in 2022, October 15th.
Wow.
So I was riding hard for 3 years. I was getting fast where I was getting there. I was able to hang with them. And getting out and started doing slower technical stuff, doing single track. And I still miss single track. But to get on a bike that's got enough power for me, I'm going to have to send the suspension off and have a lowering kit in the suspension. I mean, you go over a log and you put your foot out and you still got a half a foot to go.
Oh, Lord.
If you know what I mean. And now with my knee and everything, my dad, my mother and all them are like, stay to the quads because it's more protection for your knee. Even though I still miss dirt bikes. I still ride them from time to time. I love them.
Yeah.
That's my main thing I grew up on. And let's see, 2011, I had a Yamaha Banshee.
Woo.
And it had a boost bottle on it and twin FMF Fatty Golds on there. And it was a very uncomfortable ride. You got arm pumps so bad, and it's not a comfortable ride. At least mine wasn't.
I'm in the process of, I say in the process. I started working on, I bought a frame in like 2021. It's a 99 frame, and I ain't touched it since because I don't have
Wow, that's what year my Banshee was a 99, man.
Was it really?
Yeah, it really was.
We checked the VIN number and turned out to be a 99. I want to restore it and then ride it, but every time I talk to somebody, they're like, "You're gonna beat your teeth out." I'm like, "Well, maybe so, but I've never ridden a two-stroke before, so it's on my bucket list, you know."
Dude, learn the power band. That's all I got to tell you.
Yeah, I've heard that it's like all or nothing, and that's just
well, that's not true either. If you learn how to use that clutch.
True. Clutch is a
you
lifesaver.
learn how to use that clutch, you can make the power hit when you want it to. And my brother and Sparky Mark, they got the clutch work down. But riding the Noisy Cricket, that KX100 is when I started learning clutch control. You didn't have a choice, so you just stall it out. On a 250-pound guy on a kid's dirt bike, you had to learn how to do that clutch.
Yeah.
But where was I going with this?
Your testimony. You just got past when you messed up your knee, your AC.
Yeah, and he took me out there, and
tough love
and everything, and had a big old time out there. And I was riding a bid CR250R that he got first place with at Loretta's at the SCX, or I can't remember the Warren. Maybe it was Warren. It's the local racing group out here. And then he and him and my buddy Sparky Mark, they ended up Sparky Mark got first in the championship last year, or no, it was the year before. Yeah.
My story, I'm sticking to it.
Something like that, yeah. But my brother either got second or third by 1 point. But he got burned out on it, and he went and got him a fishing boat. My brother did.
Time to relax. Let's go get me.
That's what he was thinking. He's like, man, I done raced a whole series. He goes, I got burned out, and I think another part of it too, seeing me get hurt, did something to him, made him think.
Yeah.
He may not come out and fully say it because he did racing for 5 years straight.
Wow, that's impressive.
And seeing me get hurt probably did something to him, like how quick it could go down and everything. And I didn't even wreck when I got hurt. You know what I mean? Like it was a bummer. But I'm trying to remember where I'm going with this, with the testimony. But I came through it. My want for it is gone. And it's because you have to want to be better. And the reason I talk about it is I hold myself accountable. I'm never going down that road again. So that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Don't be a slave to it. Don't ever. And here's another thing too. Oh, I can do this and I'll still be in control. Oh, what a fool you are if you think that. You're never in control with that stuff. It has control over you. So the freedom of it that I talk about it, and I'll share my testimony with anybody, even if they don't want to hear it. I'm going to tell them.
That's a good way to.
Every now and again, my family's like, "Hey, you don't have to tell everybody."
Well,
it's like, no, it's my testimony what I came through. I had 2 of my friends OD and die in my arms. I say friends. They were the drug buddies, that's who you shot up with or got high with. And the thing is, I did bigger hits than them. Well, it was, and I'm still here. There's a reason.
A lot to say about that. Yep. Yeah. Well, it's funny because you don't know about it then, especially not knowing the fact that you'd meet some tub of lard from South Carolina that's going to put you on a podcast so other people can hear about it. So you wouldn't expected that.
I recognize that you see my testimony, what it is, and maybe there's power in it. I got to thinking earlier, I don't know if you did, with your stuff messing up and everything, there might be some stuff at work that doesn't want my testimony out.
That's exactly what I was thinking. There's a reason why, everything's breaking. It could also be the fact that I need to upgrade my laptop. That's neither here nor there, There's a reason for everything, and I agree 110%. And if it wasn't for the fact that, I've spent money and time to get everything dialed in, and the one time I talk to somebody that their life actually, their testimony means something and can mean something to other people, that's when it breaks. Go figure. Not when
there's demons at work there. I'm a firm believer in that.
Yeah, not when we're
you probably, if you read the Bible, you know this, you have 2 guardian angels, and Christians are always under attack because that's just how it is.
Well, that's the misconception that most people get in life, is that as soon as you become a Christian, it's easier. Absolutely not. You just painted a target on your back.
You're always under attack.
Exactly. Yeah. Because if that's one less person that they have to worry about talking about their testimony, sharing scripture verses, or in our case, praying and trying to make sure that people, see Christ through us. I'll be honest with you, I haven't said anything about this yet, but as of today, I was in the process of getting to the point where I was so burnt out of all the stuff that was going wrong. This isn't the first time that I've had an issue this week, and I was at the point today that I was like, you know what? If something else happens, I'm done. I can't handle this no more. It's driving me crazy. I can't sleep at night because I'm staying up till 2:00 just to fix everything and edit and make sure I have all my stuff spit and span. And then you may get 100 views on it because YouTube's like, you believe in something, and then no one sees it. I'm like, darn, we worked really hard on that. It after a certain point, you can't keep getting kicked. And, that's the sad part, is that I was in that mentality today. And then, go figure, as soon as we get to this rolling around, it starts to break. And I'm like, you know what? Suck it up, Buttercup. There's more people out there. There's people that aren't eating. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. You're sitting footloose and fancy free and fat on a freaking podcast. Shut your mouth.
Eating at Olive Garden, when you're at Olive Garden, when you're there, you're family.
Well, the waitresses need to remember that sometime. That's not how you speak to well, some families.
Hey, you know, one thing's for sure. If you want to feel better about yourself and your family, go to a state fair. You'll feel so much better about you and your family.
Oh.
So we ain't doing so bad, are we? Look at them guys over there. That's terrible.
Oh, hey. Sometimes the truth hurts.
They say the truth will set you free, but it hurts before it does.
Yeah. Well, if it was easy, it wouldn't be worth working for.
I've heard my whole life, it was easy. Women and children be doing it. You okay?
You just said the blue trail thing, and I was waiting for you to finish your full statement.
Oh, was there a full statement?
Yeah, something about me enjoying something, and you were like, other than
the blue trail when we're riding through the creek.
Yeah. What was my?
Well, was there
part?
another time that that stood out to you that was fun, just as equally to that, or?
Well, I really didn't do too much riding this weekend. I did a lot of recording, but that tickles me fancy to be able to like stand up on a hill somewhere and make other people look good. That's one of the things I enjoy. I didn't go to college just to get this darn degree, just to not use it.
Yeah, man.
So, just I that's what I enjoy the most. And
I think the conversations that we were having and stuff was fun too up there.
It's fun to sit around the campfire and shoot the bull for a couple hours, but like
it was. Had a big old time, especially when we got Jackson off road talking about his lightsaber that he directs traffic with.
Yeah.
There you go, Jackson off road. I did one a ferry before. He's like, dude, I'm a Star Wars fan too. Don't get me wrong, but he is a Star Wars fan.
Yeah, he's put more money into a lightsaber than I have in my exhaust system.
You got that right. And then he goes out and just beats the crap out of it to see if it's really. I spent that much money. I wouldn't be going out there and hitting it on something like that.
It'd sit on a wall somewhere before I do that junk. Yeah, 100%. You go here now.
You gotta give his wife some credit. She must put up with some stuff with him.
I
can only imagine he comes walking in the house with all the lights off.
Luke. Hey, I don't know if you saw it or not yet, but the last couple of posts that he put on social media, him and his wife were out there riding, so we may see her in the near future.
Dude, and he thinks, I saw that where he's like, I think she's hooked. Like, I was, way to go. We got to give him a round of applause for that. He did good.
Hey, not only that, but like her willing to take the time to enjoy his hobby. You can't find many people like that in today's society.
Her helping him out with some of the videos, I think is cool, because all my exes, they were the exes that they would probably kick the 4-wheeler dirt bike when I wasn't around because they're jealous of it.
Yeah, and I was talking with them at dinner the last night because we ended up we continued our weekend because we were riding at the Brewers property. It's sad that you guys couldn't make it out there, but you had work and all that stuff, and that's more.
Yeah, I wanted to so bad, but I couldn't.
Well, I mean, putting food on the table. I admire that, and I didn't say too much of that while I was at the trip, but I admire that you taking responsibility and doing stuff like that. So good on you for that.
Yeah, appreciate you.
Well, I mean, it most people can make excuses, and you haven't. Not even through the testimony part. Yeah. Anyway, before I get down that rabbit hole, I was talking to him.
It's duck season. It's rabbit season. It's duck season.
I was talking to Jackson for while we were at dinner, and I'm not going to share too much of his story because that's not my circus, not my monkeys. But it's his story, and he's sticking to it. So the part that really stuck out to me though was the fact that like most of the time some of those ideas came from her, and she was like, "Yeah, let's do it," and something like that. That's what I'm looking forward to. Well, if and when life decides to life whenever God decides to grace me with the lucky woman to put up with my stupidity, I hope that she's the same way, supporting my hobbies and vice versa. You don't find too much of that today's society. There's a lot of like selfish-minded individuals, which is very
It
sad.
is. They want to be put first. Like right now, if I was, there's a couple that could do something, be something. But the way I'm looking at it right now, let's say they decide they got plans with me Saturday, and all of a sudden I get a call from the boys that we're going riding. I'm going riding.
You put your four-wheeler over me? Yeah, no, do it again too.
We just go grow up being a man, quit playing with toys. Like, you know what? Being an adult sucks.
Exactly. This is my escape. What you talking about?
It's my therapy. Do not mess with my therapy. I get grumpy. I'm one of those, like Tom Hanks on Castaway, marking the days down. You're like, how many days it's been since I've ridden?
Yeah, the throttle therapy. That's what people call it. Yeah.
Yes. I got to have the wind blowing on me. Even on the street bike, man, I'm enjoying that. I know it's dangerous out there. You got to watch where you're going and all that stuff. You can't just ride for yourself. You got to ride for everybody around you. But the fun factor is there. It's the freedom of it. It's there.
I envy that. I love watching those videos. I love the moto vlog style. That is like spot on with like content that I'm like, woo! Come on, when's the next one?
I got a really good street bike video. I haven't edited it yet, but I wanted to get the Badlands series done. So I got my playlist, all 5 or 6 videos. It's all in the playlist. That series is done.
I think I'm up to 8.
Do what?
I think I'm up to 8.
Well, you were there a whole day longer than me.
Well, I also split them up smaller, too. A couple of them run to, like, past 20 minutes, but I try and keep it in the 12 to 15 range. That seems to be where most people will try and watch it. But
I can't help it. I try to get as much. I think the longest one was 28. No.
Yeah, 28, because you were talking
28 minutes is my longest one?
The most recent one was 28 minutes.
Yeah, maybe the Serpentine was 30 minutes.
See, but you're funny though. Like you'll be talking, and I'll be hooked into it, and by the time 28 minutes rolls around, I'm like, darn, where's the rest of the video? There needs to be more. Like most of the time with us, we don't talk in our micro, or at least I don't, because if I don't like focus on what I'm doing, I'm like so antsy. I'm like, I'm gonna hit something. I'm gonna die. I don't want to die. And then
the way I'm looking at it, I'm just what my thoughts are is coming out. That's how I'm doing it.
Yeah, because we got work. I got work tomorrow. I can't do this.
It just make those comments. It's like, oh, that was fun. Okay, what we're doing here, and then sometimes I'll just start out. I'm sitting there. I'm thinking, man, the camera's going. They're probably bored. So I'll start just singing some songs and Life in the Fast Lane or singing Lollipop while I'm riding next to Jackson Off-Road.
Sail away with me.
That right there was my inspirational song. And what's funny about that, now that it's out and it's been out for a while, I planned to do that.
Every time?
I even was like, I'm going to sing Come Sail Away before I do this gap jump.
Hey.
And you can probably, if you watch that video, I'm like, I thought I was going to do a different video, try to do that gap jump, but I'm not doing it in this nasty mess. And then it worked out to being fun. It's like, okay, they're giving me shit. I got to do this. And then he's like, well, I'm going to show Justin how to do this and teach him how to get this done.
And he just goes out there and rips across it.
Yeah, and he makes it look like it's nothing, but he's only 135 pounds. And he can just ride over a rock and jump it. But and then when I was like, Marky, if you do this on the pit bike, I'll do it.
He went and did it on the pit bike.
He did it on a pit bike, and I'm like, I don't have a good feeling about this. And then I'm like, okay, I think I got this. And I was sitting there thinking after I said that in the camera, they were up a hill talking, and I walked down, set the camera up, and I told them, y'all stay up there. I got an idea. I was like, I don't got this. And it was a lot of fun. And then another video that was really fun was the time trials and drag racing. We had a lot of fun filming that one too.
Was that the comparison one that you did, or was that the one that you did with Matt?
No, it was the one I did at Sparky Marks. It was the video after the gap jump where we did time trials where you did 2 laps, each person, and we didn't do it when they were on their bikes. We each took turns on the Hornet.
Which one was the one that you were doing the drag racing with another ATV? Was that the one with Matt?
That was the one with Matt.
Oh, Sean, I think I missed that one that you're talking about. I'm gonna have to go watch it after this.
Yes, it's time trials and whole shot racing and stuff like time trials and whole shot racing.
Because I know I watched the one with you two drag racing because I was like, this ought to be interesting, and I clicked on it and watched it all the way through. But I didn't know that. I didn't pay attention that you were with Matt. I must have been working or something, and I was like, ooh, just watching as I was working. I tend to do that a lot, which puts me in a pickle because then people are like, hey, you remember
January, February, March. Try to go back in those videos. Okay. Most time I'm at Sparky Marks.
Well, I have your Come Sail Away video saved, so I'll just go to that one and then go back through.
Yeah, you'll see it. There's time trials and whole shot racing. We had a lot of fun putting that one together. And if you hadn't seen, that's the one where I shift in the 3rd gear and the 4-wheeler stands straight up, me trying to keep up with that KTM 250XC. And the first whole shot race, I got him. I got him. And Sparky Mark is super competitive. So he did every kind of bike English. When we did the nets too, you could see his bike going, Rawr! And he's holding everything down. And the 3rd one, we're bar to bar, and I click in the 3rd gear, and the Hornet just does this. And I hit the back bumper, and I slide, and it comes down. And I just start rolling, laughing like shot me to the moon. It was 3rd gear is very powerful, and that 3rd gear is where the wow factor hits with that stage 2 cam.
Yeah, I didn't click it. I didn't click it in the 3rd when we were riding at Badlands. I kept her in 2nd because I didn't want to, I don't want to go too, I don't want to go too
crazy.
And
I imagine that rear shock. I saw you figured it out real quick. You stand up, it's smoother to ride that one.
Well, the cool thing is because of how big I am, I can just pinch it and hop with it. It's just.
But yeah, that video there, we had a lot of fun making. And then there was another one we did where we was doing a drag racing where we got up on the highway and we drag raced, and I drag raced a supermoto bike.
Wow.
At his place. Like, yeah, there's some cool videos out there, man.
Well, that's the funny thing is people that have just subscribed to both your channel and my channel, like there's some crazy stuff that we did back in the day that not many people know about. Like if you scroll,
and
back
a lot of
far
people,
enough,
like I need to go through and see some of your older ones because it's the same thing.
If you
when you first pull it up, you roll back, it's only going to show most recent, or if you switch your settings, most viewed.
Yeah.
Sometimes when people pull up my channel, it pulls up my best Tennessee dirt roads video, or it pulls up where I got the jetting done because that video I think it's done like over 4,000.
Yeah, because if you look far enough back, there's actually a video we made in 2020 where Andrew jumped over me with the 250, and like that video itself was like supposed to be our big break that we're gonna make it, and then he almost kills me on the 250, and no one saw it. I think 50 people saw it for the first time I uploaded it, and I was like, you know what? I'll re-upload it because we had some traction at that time, and no one saw that again. It's almost like YouTube was like, no.
That kills me. There's some videos that I put out that I'm like, this is it. Yeah. This is the one. I did so good on the editing, worked on it, added sound effects. I'm like, this is it.
Dude,
this is it.
Our 3K special that we did was like a full-on rendition of like all the stuff that I could do for editing. That was my rendition of the History Channel Swamp People video. And like I'm telling you right now, I spent so much time keyframing and adding sound effects and doing voiceovers, and I don't know how many people have watched it now because I had it up on the channel for a while. But when it first came out, and it was like 5 people viewed it. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I spent 8 hours of my life working on this. What are you doing?
I don't know where it's at now, but that video I put out this morning, the last time I looked at it, was at 20 views.
Oh, wait, your most recent one that we were quad swapping?
Yeah.
Well, the sad part is our name isn't enough to generate good views yet, unfortunately. I was kind of hoping.
Mine isn't either, but it's weird that some of the videos done over 8,000, one's done over 4,000.
It's at 21 at the moment.
See what I mean? Like it's, and
let
then
it play in the
my
background.
brute Kawasaki brute force video. Have you seen that one? That one's done over 3,000 views.
I don't think I've seen that one. I'll have to go back and find that one too. You said the brute force?
Yeah, it's the 22 model Kawasaki brute force 300 video that I did. I did that way back in January, right after we had that big snowstorm.
Yeah, because whenever Dad Speed introduced us to you, that was back in I want to say April, when we did our Carolina Adventure Road trip.
Yeah.
So from that time up, I haven't seen anything yet. It was from that time down. That's when I started seeing stuff. I've known your channel since you've had the 400.
Really?
Yeah. That was because we were put on that video of the Come Sail Away video, and then everything after that I've been trying to watch as much as possible. I think because I saw the video with you and your son, and then I keep watching some of the dirt bike ones because I've never ridden a dirt bike before either, and I'm interested to see people's perspective of it. But yeah, apart from that, I haven't seen any of your older stuff.
I need to do the same with yours because up until Dad Speed and Jackson Off Road, they're the ones that told me to go over to your channel during the Carolina Adventure World. Yeah, they're the ones that told me you need to go check out We the Bros. And that's when I went over to y'all's channel. And the same with Dad Speed. And it's funny, Dad Speed sent me, I didn't know who he was. I just saw, his name, sent me a friend's request. And then Jackson Off Road says, yeah, that's Dad Speed. You need to go check his channel. So the first video I ever saw of Dad Speed and was his, I got a new 4-wheeler with his LTR. That was the first video I got to see of his, and I was hooked.
Dude, that electric blue is so good.
It is.
It makes me so mad. I love that color scheme. He has nailed that 4-wheeler. And the crazy part
and it's
was,
like,
he bought
let's take it for a wee ride, shall we?
Yeah. All right, so this video here is the one that you're talking about. So I'll save that for later. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and watch that because there's so many hidden gems and channels. Like if you go back far enough, you can see some crazy stuff on Pete's channel too. I hope he doesn't take it down after seeing this if he does see it. But you can go all the way back to like a high school project on Pete's video, and I'm like, ooh.
I've gone way back on his stuff too. I enjoy Pete's stuff, the way he narrates it and stuff. Like,
oh yeah, it's like a documentary.
If they do, like Honda or any of them want to bring sport quads back, it's gonna be because of Pete.
Oh, 100%. The only other thing that I could think of that would bring them back was that one time in nationals, there was a guy that was running a Honda, and he went 1 and 2 for both of his runs, like for USA. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but like that was enough to get some generating going. Because like, could you imagine if he'd like nailed first if he had like a 2024 like EFI Honda, which by the way would be freaking crazy. I would
like to see him bring back the 400X, but it be the liquid cooled dual overhead cam.
There's so much technology out there right now. If they got back into the game, there would be enough people to buy it that it would be worth it, and in my opinion.
My understanding of it, the reason they got out of it is because the EPA, all the emissions regulations on them. Yeah. And Yamaha had enough money, they just did stuff to meet, the emissions and all that, and Honda, Suzuki, and all them just bowed out of it.
Well, I remember the thing with Suzuki, like you could do like 3 modifications to it and add like 14 horsepower. Me and Clifford were talking about that when I went to go look at his LTR. Like you add a cherry bomb to it, take off the airbox lid and remove the baffle, and bam, you got like I think it's either 14 or 7 horsepower, like right there off the line, and they got sued to the wazoos because of it, which is why the 10 was pretty much just a resell of the 9s that didn't sell. So
Yeah.
But hey, that junk's funny. I'm a big fan of the LTR. I've always
I like
wanted
the way
to-
they look. At the EFI issues that I keep hearing, even Dad Speed's having issues.
Yeah.
That's a bummer. It seems like they should have put a better fuel pump in or something. Or my theory is that they didn't put a big enough stator in that thing to run the EFI, so it run once you get up there and it starts getting hot, your voltage will start to lower when you got more of a load on it. Well, if your voltage is dropping, that means the amp draw is going up, which therefore stuff starts running hot.
Well, it also doesn't help that your battery's on the outside, right there near the front of the engine. So, like, you would pretty much have to relocate the battery, which I think there's a kit for it now. And then on top of that, you'd have to figure out how to. I think there's a kit as well that you can put the fuel pump system inside the tank. I think we were talking about looking into that. I'm not sure, or the one where it'll drip, like it'll drop the gravity fill or the gravity flow ones. I think that's what Clifford has on it now.
I almost think it'd be beneficial just to delete the EFI and put a carburetor on there, put an electron carburetor on it, and send it.
Tune it up right, make that thing scream.
Yeah, like just give it the berries.
Or
give it the onion.
What does everyone say? Give it the beans.
You gotta give it the beans. Gotta give it the onion.
Well,
I'm a carburetor friend. It's a lot like fan. But I think with the EFI stuff, like if I got a Raptor or YFZ, if I want to put, like, even my dad's KLX 300R, we're talking about putting an FMF pipe on it. Well, you can't just do that because you'd have to get a tuner to it's already running lean because the 300R has a Cadillac converter in the pipe, the stop pipe that's on it. So you put an FMF on it that gets rid of the Cadillac converter, it's going to run so lean that it's going to backfire. And the pipe's gonna blow, like it's
rev it once. Yeah.
So you end up having to put like a dyno programmer on it or whatever programmer there's so many different brands, it's hard to keep up. But you have to put a programmer on it. Well,
we had
with my 400EX, I just get in there and mess with the main.
Yeah, we had a programmer on mine, but it ended up doing more harm to the bike than it did good. So we just took it off and well, you rode it. It runs pretty good.
Yeah.
Can't complain too much about it, but well,
the one thing I noticed, you could tell the suspension was set up for you.
Yeah,
I hit one hump in the sands, and that's when you're like, oh, whoa. I felt that in my shoulder blades.
Yeah. Well, that, and also if you're not careful, the flex doesn't help unless you. Well, after I rolled it, it's lined up pretty good with the steering stem, but you have to line it up with the steering stem for it to work properly. Like, you have to push down on it, which is weird because it looks funky. I don't know.
Yeah, I would like to get a steering. There's so much more work to be done to mine. Steering stabilizer, I like to put on it. I thought about trying out the Ramosi R5 on the Hornet.
That would be awesome.
Or not? No, excuse me, the Rossier.
Yeah. I knew what you were saying as soon as you said the R. The R5.
The R5, the whole exhaust on there. If I don't do that, it's going to be a Yoshimura full exhaust. But since Pete's so cool and everything, and I got to hear Ian's up close and personal, I'm like, yeah, I think I might give the Rossier a go. And
well, Jackson was holding out for the R6, I think it is, for Rossier, but he ended up sticking with the DASA. But he color matched that thing, and it looks good.
It sets your socks on a rooster.
I was waiting for you to say that.
Everybody is. Everybody does now. It was funny. Where I heard that from was my father.
Really?
That's where I got that line from. And a lot of the stuff that I say, he goes, I wonder where you got that from. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, Dad.
You ought to patent that. That's my catchphrase. Anyway, we've been talking for almost, we started at 7. It's now 9. That's 2 hours?
Okay. It's a little after 8 here. That's right. I'm on slow time.
Oh, yeah. You started at 6, so you're at 8. we that was the funny part is you'd made a comment like, I don't know how long we're gonna talk, and then come to find out we're talking for 2 different hours.
It seems like it's been 20 minutes.
Well, other than the fact that starting to get a little sore in the seat.
Oh, believe me, I'm sitting on the edge of my couch, and I can already tell I'm gonna have to walk and stiff leg it for a minute to walk this off.
Well, I guess this is a good place to call it if you don't have anything else, any other stories.
No, I'm good on this one. Just hey, everybody watching this, We the Brothers is where it's at. I've had the best time with him. Check out my channel too, and everybody else is at the Badlands.
Better.
You couldn't ask for a better group of guys. I had so much fun. Yeah, that's where I'd like to leave it. Like, I enjoyed hanging out with you, Will.
Oh, hey, it was awesome. I was very excited for this, if you couldn't tell from earlier. And then all that stuff happened. So I really appreciate you being patient with me and dealing with all my stuff.
Not a problem, man. I was like, when it ended earlier, I'm like, oh. You're like, would you want to do it another day or today? No, we're going to do this today. I'm having fun. You said the same thing.
Well,
and when you got off the phone, I was sitting there thinking, there's something at work here not wanting this to go down.
Yeah, 100%. Now, I will be honest with you. I really do. And like formally, I really appreciate you being willing to talk with me about this stuff. Not only for the Badlands Bash, for the purpose of the podcast, obviously, but, also for sharing your testimony and stuff like that. It
Not
really
a problem.
means
Appreciate you inviting me on and wanting to hear it and help me get the message out.
Well, the first time I heard it, I was like in shock. You wouldn't have guessed it. Or I wouldn't have guessed it, But, awesome story and an awesome guy. I really appreciate you. And I'm really
Back at
glad.
you, man. I think, that they say sarcasm is a metric for potential. I sense great potential in you, my friend.
Well, if there's anything that you need from me, whether it's clips, videos, or just someone to talk to, by all means, let me know.
Not a problem, man. I'll definitely be hitting you up for editing advice. You could tell on my videos, I was taking some of your advice.
Oh, your stuff looked good beforehand. It's just refining.
Little things.
Yeah, little things. That's what kills you. It's little things.
Well, I did I almost did. There we go.
All right. Well, you heard it here first. I'm running out of speech. Done used up.
It's easy for you to say.
All right. Well, this is our episode of the Final Cut podcast with Justin Carl Films. Again, check them out. But that is the Badlands Bash with its final cut. I'm not going to say that for your testimony though, because I hope you share it more than just this. We'll catch you guys for the next episode. I have no idea what it's going to be because this is the only content we never plan. So we'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.